If you're among the many who find themselves intimidated to grow those absolutely gorgeous, stunning, and beautiful Anthurium, well, you shouldn't be intimidated. There are 5 easy steps to mastering them, and I'll make it easy for you starting right now. Without a doubt, Anthurium are a beautiful genus of plants, right? I mean, take a look at their foliage. They are gorgeous. These are a couple of mine in my front window plant display here in downtown Denver, and I absolutely love them. I have a wide collection of them, from Anthurium giganteum to Anthurium crystallinum, even that massive King Anthurium with its 31.5-inch long leaves, the Anthurium veitchii, my crown jewel in my Anthurium collection. I have a lot of hybrids too. Those are so beautiful and actually super duper easy to care for. So I have 5 steps to share with you that'll really help you master Anthurium and make them super easy also. It's not as difficult as people think to grow them, and I know that it can be super intimidating because, trust me, I was intimidated for the longest time. And I'm curious to know in the comments, actually, let me know if you're intimidated to grow them, or if you are growing them now, if you felt intimidated at first, and what your thoughts are on growing them now. Because now I look at them as kind of one of the easier houseplants. In fact, the hybrids, especially, those hybrids, man, oh man, they're designed to really deal with our environment so much easier than a lot of the, natural species like our crystallinum, our magnificum, and yeah. But even those plants, once we get through these 5 steps, you're going to find are super duper easy to care for. A little background on Anthurium: there are over 1,000 species of these plants, and man, oh man, are they gorgeous. Many of them hail from South America. We're talking like Ecuador, Peru, and especially Colombia. Many of these plants are epiphytic or hemiepiphytic, meaning that they grow on the sides of trees and other objects compared to growing in the ground. Still, many of them do. And as houseplants, of course, that's how we're going to grow them, right? So because of that reason, they want a good chunky aeroid soil mix. I've done plenty of videos on this type of mix, and in fact, up in the corner, you can click on that video right there, because that one breaks down the ingredients that go into a chunky aeroid soil mix. So the 5 things that we are going to touch base on here are light, humidity, water, and airflow, as well as fertilizer. So let's get started first on watering. And in fact, I need to do that to a couple of those hybrids. So let's get that done. So yeah, watering is so important, especially if you want beautiful, stunning leaves like these. Although granted, I only learned this recently and started applying it because I noticed that a lot of my leaves were starting to come in pretty funky in discoloration, like this guy here. This is my Anthurium magnificum silver blush hybrid, and I am going to unfortunately admit I have not been the best plant parent recently with these babies, and I like to pot them up, by the way, in plastic pots, clear pots, and then I put like a nice little wrapping around them. And the reason being is because it allows me to see how dry their soil is and how their root growth is. Clearly, this baby has really healthy roots, as you can see, but I let it dry out, and that is my fault, because Anthurium really love moisture. Now, like I was saying, it's important to have them in a chunky mix like I have here, where it's very well draining, but they do want to be watered often. And I just been so busy with work and everything that I'm making a million excuses here. I've just been a bad plant parent. But what I do in a situation like this is I'm just going to simply snip off bad leaves. That way it'll inspire new growth, which this plant has some new leaves already growing in on it. The neat thing about, and I'm just grabbing some hydrogen peroxide real quick to wash off these schizers, which is important to do because, you don't want to like have your plants carry over any bacteria or viruses if they have some. So I think we're going to get rid of, yeah, we're going to get rid of 3 of them. Actually, I'll keep that little third one. Why not? The neat thing about Anthurium also is that as a genus, all you really need is like one leaf. And in some instances, you really don't need any leaves at all. You just kind of need the chunk there. So then what you do, and this was the critical step that I wasn't following or didn't know about until recently, and why I was seeing discoloration on my plant's leaves is because I was watering them with tap water. And the thing is that tap water can be really harmful to these beautiful silver veiny leaves. So what you want to do is you want to use filtered water, which I started doing, and then you mix in fertilizer. I like to use natural fertilizer. I go with Alaska Fish Fertilizer 511, though there are many others. I just don't like chemically based stuff, and this is fish poop, so it's much nicer. But if you do use tap water, you can also let it just sit out for 24 to 36 hours before watering your plant. And so, yeah, a mixture of this during every single watering that I give them is exactly what they want because they are heavy feeders. They love to be fed. And man, oh man, do these plants love fish poop. You'll also notice that I have this like layering of sphagnum moss, and that is very important because they are moisture lovers, and sphagnum moss really retains that moisture for them up top. And so I started doing that over a year ago by putting in a nice layer of sphagnum moss on top. And man, oh man, did it make a huge difference. And a lot of my plants, you'll notice that their roots start to grow in through it, and man, did I start to see healthy growth. So we have that baby there. We'll let him sink out, dry out in the sink. Then we have my Dock Block Michelle, which clearly also needs a good watering. What I love about hybrids, though, is that what's beautiful about them is the fact that they're so much more adaptable to conditions that if you do forget to water them, they're much more forgiving than, like, let's say, a crystallinum or a magnificum. So, yeah, but it needs a good watering, and that's what we are going to do. I'm going to fill this up a little bit more because it has enough fish fertilizer in there. So yeah, I'll tell you what, I do have a filtered water system on the sink behind me, but at the same time, that thing goes so slow that it's just easier to fill up this Brita. And even though it goes slow, I'll tell you, I'm glad that I really only have to do this with my Anthurium because, man, oh man, if I had to do it with all of my house plants, oof, that would take forever. By the way, you'll notice behind me right here, this is the Anthurium adrianum, also known as the painter's plant or the flamingo flower. That is perhaps the most popular Anthurium that there is, and many of you have them. They're so easy to take care of, and they have those beautiful, beautiful colors to them, which range in color from pinks to whites, reds, and sometimes there's even purple versions. And it's interesting because a lot of people think that those are flowers, but they're not. They're actually space, and space are like a protective leaf that serves as just another leaf. And it's interesting because, for the longest time, I would always think that those were flowers, and they're not. So just a little fun fact for you guys. Yeah, and what's nice about those plants is that even though they're anthurium, I really don't have to be as um, you know, delicate with them with their watering. They're fine when it comes to tap water mixed in with some fish fertilizer, though I always do make sure to feed them with fish fertilizer. And I do with all my plants actually, except for pothos during the off season. I will not give them fish fertilizer because I've noticed that they don't like it. But all my other plants, like my alocasia, my philodendron, they all love it. And I do that year round. Speaking of which, that is another important thing. Yes, I do feed my plants all year round, especially my Anthurium, because man, oh man, is that so important to them. So then we have my, oh God, I'm gonna screw this one up. It has such a bizarre hybrid name, but I love it. It's a Ace of Spades, something, something, something. I'm gonna put it up on the screen, and it has some leaves that I'm gonna cut off of it because it has a lot of new growth coming in, and they're gonna be so much nicer with the new leaves coming in. So let's take this baby and put him down on this drying mat. And then, how are you, Doc Block Zara Michelle? You good? You good? You good? Maybe. We'll let him go off a little bit over there in the meantime. So we'll actually stay over here. That way we can focus on this plant that's name escapes me right now. Yeah, so we'll continue to do this. By the way, I recently did a episode on repotting these babies and the importance of upscaling certain plants to certain sizes and when you need to do that and when you'll know that it is time to do that. And you can click on that video up in the corner right now because it is worth checking out. Also, another important thing that I want to tell you guys, and it is about shining their leaves. So, the best way to do that, if you want these beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous, stunning leaves like that, is to take not paper towels or anything like that, but to take a microfiber cloth and just dampen it with filtered water and then just wipe down their leaves. That is the best way to get that beautiful shine that we want so much with these plants. And the thing is that it won't harm their leaves. It'll make them pop, and it is such a big deal. It's interesting because a lot of these plants growing in the rainforests of Colombia and South America, they will get obviously a lot of rainfall. But Anthurium, especially like our silver veiny ones here with those velvety leaves, what makes them pop so much is that they have these little things called trichomes, which are little fine hairs on their leaves. And that really, when the rainfall happens, it helps the water just kind of trickle through and go through it, which is fascinating. Which, you know, if you had a heavy amount of water sitting on those leaves, man, oh man, in that instance, it would just damage their leaves so much. And my king anthurium, what I love about that plant is it has those beautiful ridges on its leaves. And that plant is designed in a way where the water just kind of ripples through them. Granted, it's not a velvety leaf plant, but you know, that's just kind of how anthurium work out in nature. So now that we have talked about watering and the importance of that, let's switch over to lighting because lighting is absolutely crucial too. So, a lot of these plants enjoy bright indirect light, but I also find that many of them also enjoy kind of more of a medium type light. That would be more of like your velvety leaf anthurium. That's because if you really want those beautiful, stunning leaves, you don't want to give them too much bright indirect light because that could lead to scorching of their leaves. In fact, a lot of the darker anthurium would actually prefer a lower amount of light to kind of more of a medium to get that really dark leaf. Now, my king anthurium up there, it enjoys a good bright indirect light. Now, granted, here in Denver, Colorado, right now, since we're in the off season where it's not too sunny, especially with western facing windows, I like to use grow lights basically to really make up for that lack of sunshine that we're getting. So you'll notice that I have a bunch of grow lights up above my plants, and they have been saviors during the off season. I use a mixture of Sansi, Barina, Soltec, and several others. But really, it's all about finding what works for you and what's best for your plants. I know that right now my plants are really thriving because of grow lights. So, next up is humidity. Humidity is crucial for these plants because, like I said, they are from South America and they're used to that rainforest, tropically vibe, especially in a place like Colombia and Ecuador. So very humid in those locations as well as hot. So you'll want to make sure temperature is good as well. I have humidifiers constantly blasting on my Anthurium because without that humidity, you won't get the kind of vibrant leaves and growth that you really want. I recommend trying to aim for about 60% humidity, unless, of course, you're dealing with the hybrid plants. In that case, 50% or above is good for them. Those hybrids really are the ones that are easier to take care of. So if you're looking for beautiful, stunning, gorgeous Anthurium, but you want something on the easier side, I would go with a hybrid instead. But along with humidity, another crucial thing is airflow. You'll notice in my tropical plant display and all around here, I have miniature fans hidden. That way, the airflow is constantly moving around because you don't want the humidity just to sit there and be stagnant because that leads to, some really bad things. So, yeah, airflow, humidity, watering, fertilizer, and lighting. Those are the five key steps. And really, once you get those down, it's super simple. I mean, a lot of people look at these plants and they think this is so difficult. But honestly, if you're used to having not just rare plants, but just wanting to take care of your plants in particular, especially tropical plants, those are the steps you really need to follow in order to make them thrive. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching another one of my planting videos. And if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell for more fun and interesting plenty content just like this. And by the way, if you love Anthurium, I need you to check out this video up in the corner because that was a recent situation I dealt with my king Anthurium, my favorite plant when it came to pests. I'll tell you how to solve those problems in that video. Until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.